Yes, Dr.
Oh, that's funny.
Your order is ready.
All right, we're in business. Welcome to the Maitland City Council meeting of June 14th, 2021. If everybody would take a moment to silence your phones, if you bring such devices with you, then we can carry on. We have a quorum. Councilman Thomas is with us by telephone. He's otherwise indisposed, but he's with us in spirit. And Mr. Wild, I think, is in traffic and will be here shortly. So I think he would not mind if we went ahead. Let's see. I think we have an invocation this evening from our former mayor, Dale McDonald. Dale, would you like to come up and do the honors?
Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity. I guess everybody can hear me okay. No, I just again thank you for the opportunity, and we would please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the blessing of the rain today and yesterday, and hopefully even tomorrow. Because as you know, we need it, and it's a blessing from you for us. Please bless this proceeding tonight, and that you continue to bless our first responders, our police and our fire, without whom we would not sleep well at night. And that we work hard to provide them the most safe and healthy work conditions possible. Please, Lord, bless and keep all the children in the city. Keep them healthy and safe. And a special thank you, Lord, for all the veterans that we recently honored during Memorial Day. And please help these folks sitting on the dais to show the wisdom and the discernment that as servant leaders of this community, we've all come to know and expect. We ask these things in your most holy name, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Dale. You want to join me with some pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now physically joined by Councilman Wild.
I-4 traffic is back.
We have a presentation this evening on the 2045 master plan for the Central Florida Expressway Authority. And we have a representative from the authority here today, Will Hawthorne, Director of Engineering for CFX.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, council members. My name is Will Hawthorne. I serve as the Director of Engineering at the Central Florida Expressway Authority. And I'm happy to be here tonight to give you all hear me okay? Is it on? Yeah, it's on. Give you an update on the development of our 2045 master plan. The biggest takeaway tonight is we're seeking your input. There's a short survey link at the end that will be shared, has been shared with your staff. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. CFX, or Central Florida Expressway Authority, was created in 2014 by the state legislature as an independent state agency. During that time, as part of that bill, two major changes took place. It expanded our jurisdiction outside of Orange County, and it also gave us the opportunity to study multimodal. We're comprised of Osceola, Orange, Lake, Seminole, and Brevard County. We have representatives from each of those counties. We also have the Orlando mayor and the Orange County mayor serving on our board, followed by 3 gubernatorial appointees for a total of 10 board members on our board. Our system today comprises of about 125 centerline miles on roads from 408 all the way to 538. 538 is our newest roadway. It is also known as Point Santa Parkway on the very bottom of the slide in Osceola County. With nearly 3 million residents, another 75 million visitors each year, the timing is just right for us to get started on our master plan update, or the 2045 master plan. The Orlando Economic Partnership is estimating that we're still getting around 1,500 people each week moving to Central Florida in our 5 counties. Our 2045 master plan really sets the future for where we head as an agency. One of the biggest things to keep in mind when you're taking a survey or trying to give feedback is that this is a needs-based plan. It's not a financially feasible plan. So this is kind of the wish list of what you think would solve the transportation challenges both now and into the future. Our funded 5-year work plan is updated every year. That is a financially funded plan. And to kind of bridge the gap between the master plan and their 5-year work plan, we have our 15-year capital improvement plan. The biggest purpose for that is to make sure that we can see a project through to fruition and open it to traffic without knowing that we're going to invest funds into it. The master plan that we're currently working under today is the 2040. Just over 5 years ago, we went on a massive listening tour to develop that plan. We went as far west as the city of Mascot and as far east as the Space Coast TPO. This is a sample of who we went and talked to. We spoke with municipalities, counties, organizations, agencies, pretty much anyone and everyone that has a transportation stake in our area. We tried to get in front of them and listen to what they think the challenges are and what we should include in our master plan. That plan identified $11 billion in project needs across the then 4 counties. I say 4 because Brevard was not added into our jurisdiction until 2017. So that $11 billion is just the 4 counties. And by the year 2025, we will have invested over $2.5 billion into the expressways you see on this map and the studies that you see on the map there. A couple key projects included in the previous master plan were the overhaul of the 408-417 interchange. I'm sure all of you have driven it at some point. This interchange was opened in the late 80s, early 90s. It served us very well for a number of years, but with the extraordinary growth in the area, it kind of outlived its design for what it was for the amount of volume we had going through there. So we been doing it over several years, but we finally completed the major overhaul of this interchange, which you can see a completed picture of here. Another interchange I believe you all have driven is the interchange north of the airport at OIA. This is the 436 and 528 interchange. It was opened in early 80s. It served us very well for nearly 30 years, and we took the opportunity to make some much needed improvements to that to improve traffic operations and safety. It is currently under construction. This was taken probably 4 months ago, and it doesn't look anything like this anymore. They're moving pretty quickly out there. So as I mentioned before, one of the key changes with our legislation is it allowed us to look at multimodal partnerships, and the first of its kind came through with Brightline. We got into an agreement with Brightline to be co-located within our right-of-way along 528. This is something that has been a long time in the making, and if you haven't driven that corridor lately, I really encourage you to do so. They're moving fast, and there's some reports that it might even be laying rail by the end of this year. So some of the major initiatives in our previous plan included adding 16 centerline miles to our system. Those were comprised of Wekiva Parkway, which you see at the top of the slide, and most recently the Point Santa Parkway, which was adopted from the Osceola County Expressway Authority, which is at the bottom of your slide, highlighted in yellow. Together adding nearly 16 centerline miles to our system. We're also adding capacity to 417, 528, and 429, much needed capacity, adding along 55 centerline miles of our existing system. The first step in any new roadway or corridor is to do a concept feasibility and mobility study. This area here, everything shown in blue, is a compilation of all of the study areas that we've completed. The only one active at this point is the study area that kind of gets into Brevard County. Next phase in a project is to do the project development and environment study. Most of these are complete. I would point out the one that's active is the 414 Expressway extension. This is basically looking at the viability of an elevated expressway, taking the through traffic out of Maitland, 414 that's there today. So over 70% of the traffic going from 414, the expressway part on the west end, to I-4 is through traffic. So it would be a benefit to local traffic as well as those trying to get to points east of Bear Lake Road and Maitland Summit. All right, so the next phase in a project is you got to design it and then build it. Everything, all of the roadways you see here highlighted in pink and hatched in, I guess, pink and orange, those are fully funded for design. The two areas on the left side of the screen those are fully funded for construction. The one on the top is the Lake Orange Expressway. That'll connect 429 to US 27. And then 538, which is the Point Santa Parkway extension up to Osceola County Road 532, which are both in design as we speak. So again, why we're here is we really need to get your input on what you think the challenges are from a transportation perspective in your area today and into the future. We do look at all of the feedback we get. We do compile it and we will provide responses. So this is your opportunity to have a say in what that master plan will be developed as. It's a very brief survey. I encourage you to share it with your colleagues, friends, family, your staff, and that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hawthorne. I think that was very, very interesting. Do we have any questions?
I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
It's a good presentation. Thank you.
I do.
The disembodied councilman.
He must have.
Okay.
Is he watching it?
I do.
He's on loop.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I just wanted if you could elaborate a little bit more about the elevated parkway on Maitland Boulevard.
Okay. It's in a PD&E phase right now. What we're looking at is 2 lanes in each direction. We're hoping to go to a public hearing and
Right now, what we're looking at is 2 lanes in each direction. We're hoping to go to a public hearing.
Mike, can you mute your line?
I'm asking her to do that. Okay, he's muted.
we're hoping to go to a public hearing in October of this year. Is there anything specific you wanted to know about the study or what we're looking at?
Is there anything specific you wanted to know? I was just curious of what you were looking at. Are you looking at running an elevated parkway from I-4 to 1792? I'm sorry, this is confusing. Are you looking at running
So Mike, I think if you mute your line, if we have a feedback loop here in the council chamber, so if you mute your line, you can answer. And I think what Councilman Thomas is getting at is 414 is, right up the road here.
Right.
And, as what affects us here in Maitland, not to be too parochial about it, but we'd be really interested to know what the general idea is. There's an elevated parkway. Is it going to take traffic from here at Maitland Avenue and Maitland Boulevard over to 436, or is there?
It's the other
So
end.
let's start on the west end,
Okay.
where our expressway ends at Bear Lake Road. It would essentially, from 441, you would get, the through traffic would get on an elevated expressway. The local traffic would be maintained untold. It wouldn't be, still have 2 lanes in each direction there. This is looking at the viability of a viaduct that bridges over the three signalized intersections at Bear Lake, Magnolia Homes, and Eden Park, I believe. So you would bypass this signalized intersection, and we would tie into the bridge over 4th City Road today. So it would connect in to what DOT did as part of I-4 moving west. You know, they bridged over Keller and Maitland Summit, and we're just kind of trying to get that connection over to the expressway.
Okay, so you're basically taking expressway traffic off the local road. and
Taking-
Trying to get the conflicts out with the local traffic.
Right, when we did our traffic origin and destination to see where everyone's coming and going, if you're coming from the west side of town, I mean, at least 70%, I think, they were going past 4th City Road. So you've got all that traffic, you know, going through those three signalized intersections that aren't going anywhere where those intersections are serving. You know, basically what's going on. So we're looking at separating the two. You've got the locals that still have their connectivity, but everyone trying to get to I-4 and points east of 434 would take the elevated expressway.
I see. And is there any idea of coming further east with that at all? I mean, what we have here is the end, kind of the terminus of all this traffic is Maitland Avenue right here, where Maitland Boulevard intersects it, and then you know, we have some of it caps off at 1792, but a lot of it is comes up Maitland Avenue, which is a very local problem.
Right.
Funnel that traffic through there.
Okay. So that project doesn't go any further than 4th City, but that's why we're here. I mean, take the survey. If that's something you think we should look at, that's the kind of feedback we need to know, because you know we're trying to get that input so that we can see how it fits into the plan. So that I'd encourage you or your staff or someone to give us that feedback, and we'll definitely take that into consideration.
Mike Thomas on the line, do you have any other questions? Was there anything else in particular? Keep in mind, you might be muted. All right, we're good.
No, I'll be quiet now. This phone connection isn't working very well.
We have a fact sheet for the PD&E study that we're doing right now that we'd be happy to share with you.
Okay,
I
that'd be
think
great.
we'll give you a lot of information on that.
And Mayor, just to mention, FDOT is actually looking at the section you're talking about.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking it would come out in that study that they're getting ready to do next
Yes.
year.
So we provided them a copy of our two initial studies, and then they're going to look at that. They recognize it as a backlog of traffic.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else for Mr. Hawthorne, I guess we can release you for the evening. But thank you for coming all this way, and thanks for the
Absolutely.
presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
All right. Moving down the agenda, the next item is public hearings, and there are none, so we'll go on to old business. Sharon, city manager, is there any old business?
Nothing for tonight.
All right, next item is the consent agenda. Does any member of council wish to remove any of the items from the consent agenda? Hearing none, we will open the public comment on consent items 2 through 4. If anybody has anything to say about items 2 through 4, now is your time. And seeing none, we'll close that public period. And we'll call the roll.
Do I need to make a motion?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, somebody needs to.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda for June 14th, 2021.
Second.
Motion and second. Marina?
Councilmember Guthrie,
Aye.
Councilmember Paul Harrison,
Aye.
Councilmember Wild,
Aye.
Mayor Lance.
Aye. Okay, thank you. All right, now is the public period. Does anybody have anything they'd like to address that's not on the agenda this evening? Any items of interest? And we have at least one taker.
Just going to give people bids for other things.
Please come up.
I'm Stacy Larson. I'm the director of the library, and it is our favorite season, summer. Summer reading kicked off on June 1st. I had fully expected to need to come up tonight and pitch to you, come pick up our summer reading bags full of crafts and fun activities. But we gave away 200 of them in 4.5 days.
Wow.
So if you have not gotten your summer reading activity kit, you can download all of that on our website at maitlandpubliclibrary.org. What I do want to tell you about tonight is this Thursday at 10:30, there will be our weekly animal video from the Brevard Zoo posted on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. But at 2 o'clock, we will be doing Zoom around the world with the Central Florida Zoo, and that is a live Zoom activity for your smaller people. At 2 o'clock, you can get to it from our website or from our Facebook page. But then at 7 o'clock, if you are an older than small person, we are having a Zoom cooking demonstration with Shahzad Gill. He does vegetarian and Pakistani cooking. He will be making, I believe it's a chickpea salad. I love Shahzad's stuff. He's been doing demos for us for several years, and you have probably eaten his things at Get Down Downtown. He's frequently a food vendor for Lentils Catering. So his stuff is delicious. And I invite you to tune in at 7 o'clock for vegetarian cooking with Shahzad, 2 o'clock for the zoo, and 10:30 for, I believe this week is reptiles and amphibians. So it'll be great fun.
And what was the date on that one?
June 17th.
Stacy, what's the status of the library now? Is anybody listening inside at all here?
Yeah, we've been open, people in there. We are really busy considering that we aren't having story time right now. We're still getting a lot of people through the door coming in to pick up items. The board meeting will be our first live and in person, open to the public. I mean, it's always been open to the public, but they've been Zoom. But this one will be physically in person on Wednesday night. Then next week we have book clubs coming back in person and not by Zoom. We've had some outdoor programming in person. Our Maitland Walks is on Thursday mornings at 7, and we did move in May. That was in person. So we're starting to add back in-person programming with small groups. But as far as coming in, using a computer, sitting and studying, checking out books, that's been ongoing. And now school's out, people are doing it. There's a lot of folks in the library now.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything? All right. Evening.
Hello, Ryan Cowell from 2090 Goldwater, and I was just going to follow up on our last meeting and the agenda item for, the traffic study, and I just wanted to have some sort of closing notes regarding to that discussion. And I guess overall, I think what is becoming obvious is that there is a 5 mile per hour margin of error that the police department needs to clear before they're able to take traffic citations to court, for them to be successful in court. So a lot of the enforcement is based around that. And so in the traffic study itself, it says, note, in regards to speeding and how much the percentage of speeders there are through their observations. It says, note, violators, as reported in these studies, are vehicles that exceed the posted speed limit by at least 6 miles per hour in these cases, any over 31 miles per hour. So then speeding is defined as anything over 31 miles per hour, which is 24% over the actual posted speed limit. So if you were to drop the speed limit to 20, all we're actually doing is hardening the current posted 25 mile per hour speed limit, because you'd still need to clear that 5 mile per hour margin of error, and that would get 26 or 27 miles per hour. So that's all we'd be impacting, are people driving over 26 or 27 miles per hour. Also, the police officer I spoke with said that it would take 6 to 7 over for them to issue a speeding citation, so 31 to 32, and also the empirical evidence of the lack of citations in the traffic study mentioned 34 to 35 are the ones that were at miles per hour that were actually issued traffic citations to, and then our own supplemental investigation mentioned that there were 0 citations in the whole year between March 2020 and March 2021 on Mohican. So it's just the posted speed limit makes speeding or the monitoring of speeding just completely unenforceable, just through empirical evidence. So the traffic study also went into the 85th percentile metric and said, you know, a strict adherence to the Florida Department of Transportation speed zoning manual, 85th percentile metric. But what it doesn't say is that it's only the 85th percentile metric is only concerned with car safety. It's a generic application of, and it's meant to avoid speed variance. So multiple cars driving down the road together do not overtake and change lanes and pass each other and create these maneuvers that would create an accident. So it's looking out for car safety and the riders in these cars who have airbags and seatbelts and whatnot. So what we're talking about here is the marginal difference between posted 25 miles per hour and 20 miles an hour and the car safety speed variance between those two speeds, which just considering that there's no overtaking of cars in Domrick anyway, and they're all single cars driving one at a time, is makes the 85th percentile metric just inapplicable, I would say. So dropping at 8 miles per hour is within your jurisdiction, considering school zones, accident history, road rage incidents. I was told by someone, a Rollins student, said a jogger got in front of his car and told him to slow down, banging on his hood right around the corner, and he was like, I was going the speed limit, 25 miles an hour. Also, this traffic speed zoning guidelines says other standard signs and markings have not been found as effective. Geometry of roadways, and considering we have a childhood population of over 200% of the Florida average. So we have a 14 and under. So all these things would allow you to bundle up a nice investigation and make it able for you to drop the speed limit 8 miles an hour below the 85th percentile metric mark. And in that speed study, it does give you the statistical data that shows where that 85th percentile metric is, and you can drop it to 20 miles an hour.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kell. And the staff is still working on coming back to us with some of the options to slow the traffic down in the neighborhoods. Get that further in the summer, I'm sure. Thank you. Yes, Mr.
Mayor,
McDonald.
I was very much involved with the expressway authorities, PD&E, getting that put into place and getting it started. And for those of you that have detailed questions you might want to have, call me. I've got them. So, thanks. I fly incessantly.
All right.
Did you give your address?
I'll do it. What do I
I will not make that mistake again. Dale McDonald, 18,
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Any takers at all? No? Good. All right, let's close the public period. We're on to decisions. Breakneck pace. First item is appointment of Transportation Advisory Board. And it looks like we'll, Maria, can you introduce that for us?
Currently, there are 2 vacancies on the tab. The terms of James Blackford and Good Tank expired on May 23rd. Both are eligible and wish to be reappointed. The following applicants reflect this board as the first choice: James Blackford, Good Tank, second choice; Kevin Delacerna, and William Duck. Council is requested to make 2 appointments effective May 23rd for a 3-year term each.
Okay, thank you, Maria. So let's do this. Let's take nominations for the first of the 2 seats. Does anybody have?
Yeah, I do. In fact, we'll do it one at a time, but I've had the pleasure to, when I was on planning and zoning, I think I was the last person to be on part of the TAB when they had a representative from planning and zoning on their board. So I've got to know both of these guys, and they're both of great value to the city. So I would be happy to go ahead and nominate James Blackford
Okay, so that's the first seat. We have a nomination for James Blackford. Anybody else have a nomination for that seat?
I'll second
Okay, that's it. So, Mr. Blackford, I believe you are now reappointed to the first of the two seats. There is one more seat, and do we have any nominations for that seat?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw this one out there too. I would nominate Cliff Tate. I mean, we've all met him. He's been up here many times. He's done a lot of great stuff for the city, so I would nominate Cliff Tate.
Any other nominations? Any second on that nomination?
I'll second.
I'll second.
There we go.
I didn't want to steal thunder, so.
All right, so we have two reappointed members of the Transportation Advisory Board, James Blackford and Cliff Tate. Congratulations, and thank you. All right, and now we're going on to the Adjustments and Appeals, and Rick, you can read the title, and then I think we have some clarification from Mr. Regan.
A resolution of the City of Maitland, Florida, resetting the terms of the Board of Adjustments and Appeals of the City of Maitland, Florida, providing for conflicts, severability, and effective date.
Mark Regentine, Assistant City Manager. As you recall, when this came before you the first time, it had all BAA members serving identical terms. Concern was brought up that there probably should be some staggering of those terms. So in the interim, since that first came up, Maria went back to look at what had happened. We couldn't find out how those terms came out of stagger. It happened before Maria was city clerk, and there was really no record of it. Obviously, since the board rarely meets, it's something that could easily slip through the cracks, and obviously did, since they haven't met since 2009. So what we're proposing is that we reset that stagger as required in code. And the one thing that changes from your staff report is that we had Matt Sloan serving a 2-year term, recommending to serve a 2-year term. That doesn't make a perfect stagger, so what we'd like to do is, as you're adopting this, even though this is an administrative matter, have Gray Binford and Matt Sloan serve the 1-year term, Rob Smith serve a 2-year term. One of the vacancies would be a 2-year term, and the vacancy and the alternate would be a 3-year term. And as you see from the next agenda item, we're requesting that we do have an applicant in for this. We're requesting that that person be appointed to a 3-year term, so we have a more consistent stagger. So we have 2 1-year terms, 1 2-year term, and a 3-year term, and then if there's any other applicants, they could fill the additional 2-year term. So that's the only change, is having Matt go from a 2-year term to a 1-year term. And those terms don't count against their 2 full terms that they get to serve. So they'll serve the 1 term, then still be eligible for 2 additional 3-year terms.
Okay, thank you, Mark. So, as I understand, you're saying that Matt Sloan would serve a 1-year term?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. So that doesn't appear to be a change from the green sheet.
That's what I've looked. That's what it says on the green sheet.
I got two.
I've got Greg Binford is serving the 1-year term.
And Matt Sloan is a 2.
Yeah. The Matt's the second one.
I'm looking at it online, so I don't have the print copy.
You didn't really say that, John?
Yeah, it's online. It's
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm looking at it online, yeah.
Maybe somebody made the change already.
Oh.
I was playing with it online.
Oh,
Sorry about that, Mayor. I didn't know you were working in real time.
Gaslighting is right live. Okay, good. So it's all resolved then?
Yep.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. All right, does anybody have any questions of Mr. Regan?
No, we just need to make a motion on that to make it official.
Just a motion on the resolution.
Right, and we have public comment first before we get to that part of it. Do we have any members of the public want to comment on this resolution, clarify it even further? No public comment.
This group meets so often.
Yeah, August 2009 is the last time.
But we do have a vacancy if anybody's looking for something to do every 10 years.
Like cicadas.
And all the volunteer appreciation dinners.
That's right.
Now, under the new code, this is being reshuffled a little bit, Dan, is that right?
Board of
No, this
The
is-
Board of Adjustments
No.
staying in place?
Has to.
I think it's one of those mandatory we have to have.
No, but I thought you were doing something with how it
BZA.
the BZA goes. But BZA has met, which is quite interesting, right? BZA meets,
Okay, we open the public period, let's close it. If there's any further discussion, if there's no other further discussion, we can entertain a motion.
I've made too many motions.
All right, let's get it work out.
I'll make the motion.
I'm happy to do it. You want the motion?
Motion to approve changes to the staggering of the terms as outlined. Does that get us there?
Resetting the terms.
Oh, yeah, there it is, sorry, I was on the right page. Motion to pass a resolution resetting the terms of the Board of Adjustment and Appeals as outlined.
I second that.
Oh,
Excellent, we have a motion and a second. Maria, would you please read the roll?
Councilmember Lowell Harrison,
aye.
Councilmember Weil,
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie,
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye. Okay, any discussion? Or any discussion items? Oh. Oh. Okay, we're moving on to the Board of Adjustment and Appeals. And we need an appointment for that one. Yes.
I appoint Mr. Nunez to serve the term effective March 22nd. I like the exact date, please. For a 3-year term.
I'll second.
I'll third it.
All right, Mr. Nunez, you'll be busy then. All right, so we have a new member of the Board of Adjustment and Appeals. Thank you for participating. Now we have, are there any discussion items? And there are no discussion items. I think we can move on to the city manager's report.
Just briefly, wanted to remind everyone, we're heading into budget season, so there are a lot of workshops and meetings in July, which includes setting the millage rate at the second meeting. Again, tentative millage rate, you have an opportunity to change it. So if you can, just check your calendars. If you have conflicts, just let us know, because we need to have at least 3 folks at each meeting to make sure we get through there. And if we need to arrange for Zoom or something, if you're going to be out in the workshops, we can get that done. So just let us know as soon as you see a conflict.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney, anything to report? Somewhat we're going to go through the legislative.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until the governor actually signs the bill I'm most irritated about. I stay irritated, but this one is particularly irritating. Once he signs it, I should be able to cover these 3 or 4 things that you'll be interested in, and probably irritated too when I review it. Allow 15 minutes or so next time for that.
Okay, and we'll do it at the end of the meeting at the same point. Okay. All right, anybody, any city councilman?
I just have a question. First Fridays, are we gonna look at those in the near future?
So they come back in the fall. We don't do them in the
Oh,
summer.
sorry, yeah.
So they are going to be in the proposed budget for the fall.
Awesome.
Anybody else have anything to report? Anybody do anything? I went to the other night, I guess it was Monday night, last Thursday, to the Asbury Methodist Church. They put on a nice program about the histories of Maitland and Eatonville. And it was John Beecham, local resident, and Professor Scott French, and Dr. Nathiri was walked through kind of the intertwined histories of these 2 cities, and it's really kind of fascinating. And I hope they're going to continue to elaborate on that and have a deep, interesting history of these 2 towns. So I thought that was a really interesting discussion. But other than that, I have nothing else to report. And it would be appropriate at this point to have a motion to adjourn. So we want to Huh?
Good to hang out.
Got to be here until I get one. All right.
That gavel sword.
There you go. Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight, guys.